Hey guys, this is Dinosaur. Today I'm gonna do another video on how to draw the MechaGodZilla. Basically the reason for it is the past tutorial that I made about the MechaGodZilla was a little bit too long, and I can imagine that a lot of you guys don't want to watch a very long version. So the purpose of this video is that it's gonna be a lot shorter. There will be a little bit of time lapse in it as well, but yeah. This is the kind of the sketches that I made for this particular video. What we're gonna draw is MechaGodZilla from the side view like this. So yeah, let's get into the video. Oh, and by the way, before we're gonna move on to the video, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you won't miss a single video. So we're gonna start again with drawing the shape for his back, for just kind of drawing his spine. He is facing this way, so his tail will be over here. The reference photo that I'm using, his tail goes just barely, just goes like this, and that's kind of it. And my sketchy lines are a little bit all over the place, so if you are talented unlike me, just do this in one go, but don't press down too hard on your pencil. So this will be the basic line for his spine, and here will be his neck. Alright, so what we want to do now is we want to draw kind of a square, a box shape right here, just like this. Make it too long, like that, and then draw another one attached to this one. So this will be his belly area that we will see, and then over here, well, let's first go to his back. So he has a very strange shape onto his back, like that. And don't press down too hard on your pencil, because later on we are going to erase everything and go over it with a darker pencil, or just pressing down a little bit harder so that you get a lot of cleaner lines and not those faded out kind of messed up lines. Alright, so he has something that looks like a panel over here, which will be his hip, and it goes pretty far down like this. Then he has the same kind of thing as at his shoulder right here, so you want to draw that as well. This one is shaped kind of differently, and it's a little bit smaller than this one. Alright, so then his neck, which starts about over here, so we want to draw this shape until over there, and we want to draw this shape until over here, and he has something like a shoulder area right there, so it just goes in a little bit more, and then his neck will be right here somewhere. His neck is divided into 4 planes, 2 planes on this side, 2 planes on the other side. So just at the middle we draw a line, and then over here will be the beginning of his head. Make sure that his head looks a little bit smaller than everything else. So his back is kind of arched like this, pretty much arched, and then his tail goes like this. Just starts on his hip, it goes all the way like this, and it goes back up over here. His legs, this is a pretty hard part in my opinion, so what you want to do is you want to draw boxes like this, and over here I'm going to draw his joint, and then a box over here. I'm not sure if you can clearly see everything on camera, Yeah, you can pretty much see it. That's okay. His lower part of his leg is about the same. I mean, like, it looks a little shorter than the upper part of his leg. So then we want to draw another line right here, because we can sort of see part of his the front of his leg because of the position that his leg is in, and also over here because it's not completely square. He has some planes going on everywhere, and then over here will be the strange joint. For this part of his leg we do the same thing, because we can also see certain planes and everything, and over here as well. So by the way, this area should be a little bit more like this, so it's overhanging a little. Alright, so that's one leg already done, and we want to connect this to everything else. And then let's go into one of his arms. So we want to have this one hanging a little, so we do the same thing. We want to make sure, by the way, yeah, we want to look at the length of every part of his limb. So this part will be about this long, and then this part will be about the same length. And then we want to do the same thing as what we did with the leg. Widen it a little bit, because again it's not completely square. Alright, something like this, and then we have something attached to this, but we're gonna focus on that later. So now we want to kind of finish his tail, and his tail goes like this. It's not a very thick tail, but once the plates will be attached to his back and his tail, it will look a lot thicker. But he does have a very long tail. That's one thing to take notice of. And he has like a little bit of a stump at the end of his tail, and attached to that will be a stinger. And he has two of those, but you can only see one of them. Now for his feet, it goes like this, just down like that, and we want to draw a line right there. You can see one claw right here and one over there. And it's more like, it's not really like a claw, it's more like a flat piece of metal representing a foot, I guess. Well, there are a lot of details in this area, but we'll go back to that later. So yeah, we might draw just one leg, one arm, or we could draw two legs and two arms. I prefer to draw two, but we have to pay attention to how much time we have in this video. Let's just first go into his head. So his head it's not really hard to draw his head. So he has a flat area on the top of his head right here, which is pretty long if you ask me. And it goes down slightly like this, and then you just draw a box shape thing right there. And I'm thinking his head is a little bit too small, but I'll just try to finish it and we'll see what will happen. So just draw a straight line back like this, and then we go up as if he is smiling. You want to draw a little bit of a gap between the upper and lower jaw right there. Go down like this, and then this will be his lower jaw right there. And in MechaGodZilla, he actually has something like a mechanical thing right here. And of course we want to attach the head to the neck. Okay, so this looks about pretty accurate, I would say. We still have to get in his hand, so I will have to pay attention because I have not drawn this before on my sketches, because as you can see I was just doing it as quick as I could and not really putting in too much detail there. But yeah, alright, so let's see what it actually looks. So I edited a lot of it out because I was just, well, like I said before, I don't really know how to put this in right because I haven't practiced it yet, but I think I have a very easy and better way to do it at the moment. So I erased it. Alright, so I'm just gonna make two very large claws. So it's gonna have like an area like this, at which point everything is straight and equal. And now I want to create a finger over here like this. And a finger over here like this, which is about exactly the same as the other one. Alright, something like that, and we can create one over here. Just barely see one over here. And maybe another one over here. Alright, this looks a lot better and it's a lot easier to do. So now we are at the point where we want to add some skills and everything. So I'm first gonna erase, not skills, I mean the plates on his back. So first I'm gonna erase all of this. What we want to do is we want to draw a line so we know exactly at which height every plate will be. And unlike Godzilla, MechaGodZilla does not have very large plates on his back. They're not very big at all, but they do look it's like within Godzilla, when you're drawing Godzilla you can just randomly scribble every plate in, but with this one it's a lot harder because you have to pay attention to every placement of every little plate. So yeah, that's gonna be a little bit hard, I think. So what we want to do, the first set of plates don't need to be as high, and they have a very distinct pattern, to be honest. So it's not just like this, it's more like this, almost like a plane wing, you know. For example, this would be part of a plane, if you know what I mean, like the tail of a plane. So it looks a lot like the tail of a plane. So we want to start with drawing plates that are not as high as what we kind of already scheduled, like we made some helping lines to remind us which pattern or which height every plate would be. this way we can kind of create a feeling of depth in it, because he has, as far as I know, he has 3 rows. If this would be his back, he has a row right here, the middle row, a row right here, and a row right here. But these ones are kind of angled a little bit outwards, and the ones here are just angled like this. So we have to, if these ones are angled outwards, then we can see from the side, we can see the top. So just draw this in. And it's not gonna be too large, but it's gonna be decently large, I would say. And at this angle, I'm struggling to draw it right, because I don't want to angle my. Normally, I would angle my paper a little bit, like over here. I would just like angle the paper right here, but then it would be harder for you guys to see. So I'm sort of struggling a little bit. So this, these plates end about over here. And then we go to his tail plates. And these ones are a little bit bigger, I would say, than in comparison with the part of his body that it's on. So it goes a little bit higher and a little bit bigger than the scales on the plates on his back. And the shape kind of changes as well, just for a little bit. So right now I'm just going all the way up to the top, because I believe that his tail only has 1 row. Yeah, so there's not much to say about this. This is just keep going until you finish this area. And over here will be the final one. Alright, so this looks about alright in my opinion. This looks about good. And I can see, for some reason, I smudged my paper again. I'm not sure why. I have to erase that because it doesn't look good. Alright, so now we want to draw the second row. The second row will be just a little bit higher up than the first row, and you can kind of draw something like this. Just a little bit higher up, but not much. Final double scaled pattern or double plates pattern on his back, and then these ones are just single rowed. So now we are at the final stages of this drawing. You have to draw a line right in the middle of the tail, because there's something gonna happen here. I want to do this correctly, so I'm gonna angle my paper a little bit. I'm sorry. And I don't have the room to do it. Right, something like this. So if you did everything right, the drawing should look a lot like this. By the way, we can draw something like this over here. Yeah, it should look something like this. Now you want to erase everything, go over it again with either a sharper or a darker pencil, or you can just press down a little bit harder when you go over everything. So that will be in time lapse. So yeah, I'll be back. Alright, so I kind of figured that I cannot do everything in time-lapse because there's a lot of detail that I'm going to have to put in right here. So what I'm gonna do, let's see if I can zoom in. No, I cannot. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I will go through everything without going into time-lapse. Well, parts of it are going to be into time-lapse, but not everything. So let's just focus on his face a little bit. So yeah, what we can kind of see is that over here he has an area that goes like this. So that's gonna be the top of his upper jaw. And this area is a little bit more rounded like this. So his eye will be located right about over here. Very small little eye. There's a lot of detail right there around his eye. Then the rest of his head goes like this. So you have two lines going like this, and then a line going like this, and one going like this, and maybe a couple of lines right there. You want to make this a little bit more pronounced, like a little bit more visible. Right there. Let's make his bottom jaw a little bit better visible and everything. So we really want to capture that feeling of it being a robot. So from here, so we already drew in these lines, right? So what we want to do now is we want to draw some straight lines going straight to that area right there, like this, and then the lines go like this. Something like that. It's supposed to look a lot like what we have right now. So this way we can clearly see the curve in his neck. And it still looks sort of robotic. We want to do the same thing for all of his body, but from over here, there's sort of this line that starts Alright, so you want to do the same thing on his tail, but on his tail it's going to look a little bit different. And we want to draw a line right here so we can indicate that there's something that attaches those areas to each other, like that. Alright, so this looks about okay. This looks pretty accurate to what I would say I have seen till now from MechaGodZilla. So now let's get into a little bit more detail in his limbs and stuff. So yeah, basically what we want to do now is we want to draw an area like this. We want to make these lines we just drew doubled, like double layered, so that it looks like it's coming out a little bit more. And you wanna have 3 squares on his leg, on his thigh, I would say. So that's gonna be one of them. Second one will be right here, and this will be the third. And there are going to be crosses in these limbs, or in these squares, I would say. And then there's another set of those squares right here. You cannot see them very good, but there are also going to be crosses in them. You want to make this line a little bit more clear, like that. And over here we have a couple of that look like clams hanging onto, or I'm not sure what that word is in English, but let's say it looks funny. Alright, and 3 for every square. Just something like that. Make this line a little bit better. Alright, so there's gonna be an area like this, and then we can see something like a bolt, and this part of his leg is curved around it a little bit. So there are going to be 3 squares on this part of his leg as well, with crosses in them again. And then this area of his leg will be protruding out a little bit more. something that looks like this. So at this point it's pretty hard to explain everything, but it's easier to just draw it and try and copy it if you're going along. Alright. So now for every toe, it sort of looks like he has a knuckle, but it's very clearly visible, so it's very pronounced. But I'm not going to go into too much detail of this area because it's not really important. It's just I want to have his foot set down right there, and it's going to be fine. I do want to put in some mechanical looking parts like this. You just want to try and create a mechanical look for it. That's basically it. Alright, so let's put in the stinger as well. Alright, that looks about accurate. And let's put in the his arm. So I'm not quite sure about how this looks or this, because I have not really had a very precise reference photo for it. But yeah, so over here we have 4 squares again. With crosses in them, and then again same thing as over here. For every square I'm just gonna make 2 of those things right here. Should be 3, but yeah, it's starting to get really small, and there's not really much of room left for me to draw. So right here again we have an area of his lower arm protruding a little, and over there it would be attached. Drawing those lines very clearly. So here he has 3 well, I'm not sure how I can explain this, but they look kind of like this. And then we want to put in the rest of his arm, and he has some protruding areas right here and there, and on this side as well. So it's sticking out a little bit more. Alright, so this would make us about done. So basically all we have to do now is we have to go in every area and get more detail in and make it look darker. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now. This will be in timelapse, by the way. Alright guys, so I'm back. I did a lot of detailing. I hope you could see everything right and without a shaky camera, because I know my camera is shaking due to the fact that my floor is completely wooden and I've got my phone on a tripod. But as soon as I move around, or like when I make a small move or try to scribble on my drawing, yeah, my table moves and the camera shakes a little. So I'm really sorry about that. I've tried to do something about it, but it's kind of out of my control at this point. But yeah, I hope you liked the drawing. I hope I helped a lot of you guys out with how to draw this. And yeah, alright, so this was Dinosaur Drawer. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and tell me in the comments below what you think about the video and the drawing in general. So yeah, see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.